one. You like jazz?
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's
not jazz.
Yeah, I know. I was so excited when I saw the concept to this movie because, like, I basically do the same thing when I play Rocket League. Yeah. Not with jazz, but with just music that kind of, like, touches my spirit.
When you hear jazz, you'll know I'm coming.
Right.
Did you watch this subbed or dubbed?
I watched it dubbed, so.
Ichigo!
Oh, was that? I didn't
he doesn't play the jazz guy. He plays the...
Yeah. I could hear... the whole time...
Which is funny because I also think the voice actor of E.O. Fleming sounds like Johnny Wash. He sounds like a fake Johnny.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, this guy sounds really familiar. At some point during my watch through, I landed on, this might be Yuri Lowenthal, but it clearly was not. But yeah, I didn't realize that. Or I think you had said something about that.
No, I didn't know. Actually. Oh, okay. Until I started watching it.
Because I remember you making a comment about trying to get Hinata into Gundam, and the only gateway.
I was talking about Iron-Blooded Orphans. He's also one of the main characters.
Oh, okay. I see. Huh. Interesting.
Hey everyone, welcome to Screen Weens. I believe this is episode 180.
Is the 180?
I think.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're getting up there.
We are.
Doing this for 7 years?
Yeah.
Not really, but
a year after Infinity War.
Yep. Ooh, Infinity War. Ooh. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt, December Sky, and then Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt Bandit Flower, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
But before we do that, as always, we're going to talk about our weeks, our hopes, our dreams, our nightmares, our lovers, our haters. And we're going to talk about how much I fucking hated the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah. I saw it.
Oh, did you like it?
I wouldn't go that far.
Probably more than I did.
Probably. I didn't passionately hate it.
Yeah, I really hated it.
I think Alex from I Hate Everything, I saw his Letterboxd review, and I think it summed it up perfectly, which was like, this is the best Illumination movie.
And it still sucks.
And it still sucks.
And the thing is, like, I can at least, like... I feel like when they were doing their early stuff, like Despicable Me, I don't particularly think those movies are good.
Yeah.
But they're at least kind of like, they have an identity, a personal identity. Like, the Super Mario Brothers movie is just a reference machine.
Yeah.
And it's bad. It's a reference machine with insert tracks that don't make sense to the narrative or the themes or the scenes.
Yeah, I tried, when I was watching the Mario movie, I acknowledge it's like, okay, I'm just going to have to rip that Band-Aid right off. It's an Illumination movie. It's a modern animated 3D, like, family picture. They're always going to have fucking weird insert songs that don't match.
I don't know. Like, I feel like...
casts.
I guess it changes for, like, something like Sing, because the insert songs are just, like...
Well, yeah.
Like, that makes sense, at least. But even, like, Despicable Me, most of the music in it is at least... relevant to the scene that's playing. Like, do you remember when Take On Me was randomly just playing when they got to Donkey Kong's village?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
I love Take On Me.
So, I mean...
But I was just like, what
I'd probably say I'm a big fan of most of the songs in the movie that I remember. Like, they play...
It's mostly just like, do you remember the 80s?
Yeah, I think they play Mr. Blue Sky at the end, and that is literally my Rocket League song. Like, that's what I play best to, but... yeah, that, I thought it was not good, but, you know, it was something.
I think the best parts were in Brooklyn at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought that commercial that they did, I was like, I wish the whole movie looked like this.
I wish there was a fake CRT, like, filter over the movie, and I wish they were just plumbing.
I would love if the plot of this movie was just like Princess Peach being like, oh no, the Mushroom Kingdom's got a really bad plumbing issue. Mario, can you come? Bowser keeps smashing all of our pipes. We need you to come and fix
Mario's
the
like,
pipes.
I can smash your pipes. Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt was...
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think any of the voice acting was good in the movie.
No.
Jack Black's probably the best because he's like at least having like fun with it.
See, I think I like Charlie Day as Luigi. I don't think his performance
for the 3 minutes he's in the movie.
Yeah, I don't think his performance, because obviously he wasn't. I don't fault them for not wanting to go into the "oh, it's a me" accents the whole fucking movie. That would A, get annoying really fast, and B, low-key kind of racist. Like, but you know, I'm
making a pizza.
I thought the fucking explanation they gave it was like, all right, whatever, fine. But I think if you're gonna like stray away from that, I would have preferred like the 80s cartoon, like the, hey, it's me, Mario, and my brother Luigi, like kind of stuff.
Let's go fucking stomp some Koopas.
Yeah, because it's just like, I don't know, that's Mario to me. But yeah. I might have a bias though, because I did kind of grow up in the Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo era.
Never watched it. I almost did right after the movie because I'm like, I guarantee I'll like this movie more than the animated one.
Yeah, probably. Like it's weird. I can't comment on if I think it would still be an entertaining movie, but I mean, fucking Dennis Hopper's in it, so that's gotta count for something.
Speaking of Dennis Hopper, I watched Speed for the first time.
The
Keanu Reeves movie.
Oh, yeah.
He's the villain in that. Have you seen that movie?
I've seen bits and pieces of it a long time ago.
Really good. I was I was putting it on because I'm like, this is probably just going to be like a fun kind of dumb action movie from the 90s. Yeah. And like it is, but it's also like really tightly paced for the vast majority of it. Mm-hmm. And it's just really fun. And like, Keanu Reeves, I will defend him to the day I die. He's got some real, like, star power. He might not be able to play, like, character roles as well, but he's a fucking movie star.
Yeah, he's not a big character actor, but I mean...
He's got that, like, innate personality that I like to watch.
He's very good when he's, like, doing natural stuff. Like, obviously, and, like, I think my go-to example of, like, a bad Keanu Reeves performance, and even then it's extremely charming, is Dracula.
And every time I watch it, I like it more and more. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I like it. I think it's good.
Apparently, Francis Ford Coppola tried to, like, partway through the shoot was like, can you just don't use the accent? And he insisted. Keanu.
And I was reading, and Francis Ford Coppola's like, he was such a sweet guy, so I just let him do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
I can't.
I'm acting.
I'm acting. Yeah, it strikes me very much like similar vibes to like Johnny on Bosch and JoJo Part 1, where it's just like a very obviously...
I'm Jonathan Joestar.
Where it's just like, oh, blimey. But...
I think there's a third act in the movie that just doesn't really need to be there. It feels like they... in Speed... They like get up, they stop the bus, and then there's like another thing that has a bomb on it after that. I'm like, what? Why?
Yeah.
But in general, I still think that movie's really, really fun. I had a lot of fun times watching that with Pierre de Pollo.
Are you going to watch the sequel Out on the High Tides?
I was thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I rewatched The Pacifier.
I don't. Pacifier.
That is one of those classic like action stars turned babysitter movies. It's the one with Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
I watched it a lot growing up because it came out when I was like 8, so I had it on DVD. It is not good, but like that genre in general is like relatively harmless and kind of charming to me, and like. I think in the movie there's enough like fun, charming scenes that it like gets a pass for me. I think the main issue is just structurally it's a complete mess. And it's like it's actually one of the biggest issues I had with the Super Mario Brothers movie is that it doesn't have any structure. Like it has no connective tissue to it.
No.
It's just like scene. And now we're over here, and the dialogue especially was really bad. It's like there's no dialogue. It's just explanations.
Yeah. And back to the Mario movie, because I need to talk about that a little bit. Why did we have to do the isekai thing again? That happened in the old Mario movie. Was it like, I could understand if it was a throwback, but it's like, is it really that hard to just have Mario be a plumber in the Mushroom Kingdom?
Well, he's from Brooklyn.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
In the games?
I think so. At least 1 point he's from Brooklyn.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, I didn't think his games took place on Earth, but...
I don't know. I think it's less interesting to do an isekai route.
I've also played, like, maybe 6 Mario games.
The thing is, Mario games in general don't have a lot of story.
Yeah, they're
so
pretty...
they had a pretty blank slate. And I'm like, that's what you fucking came up with?
Yeah. It's like,
that movie right there?
The most generic by the numbers.
I could have made a Mario movie.
I think anybody could have made a better Mario. Well, not anybody, but just in terms of creativity, it just really didn't.
Uwe Boll should have made a Mario movie.
That would have been at least interesting. But wasn't it so great how, like, Donkey Kong just kind of became a main character, like, or a supporting character, like, partway through the movie? It's like, this is what Luigi should be doing. Why am I watching Seth Rogen Donkey Kong? I don't like this. I fucking hate you, Mario. You fucking...
The last 2 things I watched is we're still going through the origin movies, too.
Nice.
So I watched the 3rd one, which I think I like even more now.
Yeah, the 3rd one's really good. That's the one where they first rebel, right?
Yeah.
Boot camp kind of
that. Yeah. In general. What's so fascinating is I also think that works the best on its own, too. Like, out of the 6, like, you can just watch that one. I think its narrative's really strong. Yeah. And it's, like, an hour. And it packs so much into it, but it also feels like everything has room to breathe. Like, it's excellent.
Yeah. No, I really like that one.
And then I rewatched the 4th one, which I also think is pretty great. I really like all of those. But that one is just a whole lot of pieces getting set up for the 5th and 6th.
Yeah, I felt... From my memory, I remember, like, 4, 5, and 6 being just more kind of, like, segue pieces for the most part. Like, they have their beats, obviously.
I remember really liking 5. We haven't watched 5 and 6 yet. Yeah. We might watch 5 tonight. But I'm excited to rewatch those, because in general, I think that the Origin series is just, like, really, really good. But 4 also has one of my favorite scenes, which is the shovel fight in the construction yard.
Oh,
where the guy has
when he's meeting Lala for the first time.
Yeah, and he saves her with the shovel. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and in general, 4 is I really like because it also introduces like Amuro's stuff, and it also introduces Lala soon, who I think is great. So,
oh, of course.
And then I did. Obviously, I read the first compendium of Invincible, and I read some other stuff. And, yeah. The last episode of Superman and Lois that came out is, I think, the best episode in the entire series.
Oh, shit.
It's great. There's Clark has a standoff with someone.
Oh.
Because, like, in, like, a Smallville resident. Because I won't get into super big spoilers, but, somebody pulls a gun on Lois that lives in Smallville. And Clark gets home and his kids go, this guy pulled a gun on Lois. She's like, I'm fine, I handled it. He's like pissed and he's like, I'm going. She's like, this isn't a job for Superman. He's like, he's not going. I'm like, yes! It's so good. I literally think that Tyler Hoechlin, or
Hoechlin, I think.
Hoechlin? Yeah. I think he's my favorite live-action Superman. At least from what I've seen. He's so good.
I know. The thing... Yeah, because it's like, obviously Christopher Reeve is so, like, iconic and stuff, and I'm sure if
Christopher Reeves is great, too.
Yeah, and I'm sure if I were to go further back, I would probably even like George Reeves. He seems like he was a pretty good role model. Like, knowing some of the stuff behind the scenes and how he tried to, like, get his life in order to be a good role model for kids. And, like, I'm not sure if you've ever heard, like, the birthday party story. Basically, this kid, like, was like, he went to a birthday party as Superman, and a kid pulled a gun on him, like a real gun, because he's like, you deflect bullets on TV. And he was like, on the spot, and so he ended up... Oh, did we freeze?
Nope, you're good.
Okay. But he ended up he came up with like a really good excuse on the fly where he was like, you can't shoot at me because I'm bulletproof, but the bullets will ricochet off me and hit someone innocent. You don't want to hurt anybody. And the kid gave up the gun and stuff, but it's like... maybe parents should lock up the guns more. Of course, this was the 50s, so I imagine there wasn't a whole lot of that going on.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen these days. Nobody would have a gun when they weren't supposed to.
Definitely not. But yeah, he's just so genuine and so nice. And he doesn't, like, really look the part, like, from what you typically
but then, like,
a
couple episodes in, you're like, that's my Superman, baby.
No, exactly.
To the point that, because this is the first big, like, Superman thing Hinatea's watched, now she sees what Superman usually looks like. She's like, it's not my Superman.
You need short, spiky hair. Yeah, no. Fucking, yeah, because I liked it so much that I went back and watched a whole, like, I don't know if I watched the first season or I had to have watched into the second season because Tyler Hoechlin doesn't make an appearance as Superman until Supergirl season 2. Okay. And I watched I think I watched the entirety of the first 2 seasons of that.
That sounds about right. I remember you getting through the first season and going to the second. I don't know if you ever got through it all.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think I remember a handful of Superman episodes, so I must have at least made it a decent chunk through. But yeah, I'm really interested because character from Superman and Lois, Lois's sister, whose name I can't remember, she's also in.
What is?
Yeah, I don't.
Lucy Lane.
Lucy, yeah, she's in Supergirl season 1. She's like a pretty predominant character for a little bit, but from what I gather, they kind of like revamped her character for Superman and Lois season 2, and they kind of sent her on like a negative character arc in between the series, it seems, from what I can gather. So I don't know.
Anyway, start watching Superman and Lois again.
I'm thinking about it now that oh crap, no, I don't have that. Maybe after the next deep dive I will have a little time on my plate to watch Superman and Lois.
Fair.
Yeah.
But have you watched anything else this week?
I watched the Mario movie, and then my dad wanted to watch Buster Scruggs, so I watched that for the first time, and it was okay.
I remember really liking it when I watched it, but that was, 5 years ago? That was 2018, I think.
Yeah, it was somewhere around there. Yeah, I thought, because, there were some stories I liked more than others. I thought the James Franco one, aside from the pan shot, which was, like, incredibly funny. But aside from that, I didn't really get anything out of that one. I mean, there's the meme, the first time, huh? But it was incredibly short and not really had a lot of meat on the bones for that one.
Do you remember which one that was?
It's the second one.
It's the second one?
Yeah.
Well, I checked my review, and the second one is my least favorite one. So.
It makes sense. But, yeah.
And I specifically said, the new meme format was fine, and the pot guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess I felt the exact same way.
Yeah, because the first one was the one with Buster Scruggs. The second one was the James Franco one. I think the third one was the guy digging for the gold, like in the old Pocket Valley.
That's the one with the third here. I'm looking at my review. The third one was the one with the brother from Harry Potter, the cousin, the guy with no limbs.
Oh, that was him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's much different looking.
Yeah, I liked that one a fair amount. Then it was the gold guy one, and then it was the Oregon Trail one, or the Frontier one, or whatever. The one that reminded me a lot of what? Barbara Loden? Was that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of that Barbara Loden short.
Is the sixth one the one with the ghosts?
Yeah, the final one is the one with the carriage ride.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah, that one also might have been my favorite one. Just because, I was like, the whole time, I'm like, this is really interesting. I wonder what the other two guys are going to be. And then the second she started coughing, I was like, oh, yeah, I see where this is going.
My two favorite ones, I remember that, was the last one and the first one. I like the Buster Scruggs one quite a bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I do like the Tom Waits gold one, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say generally minus the James Franco one. I at least moderately like them all. So,
yeah. I think that was my impression, too. I haven't watched in a while, but... I haven't watched any Coen Brothers movies, and I can't think of the last time I saw a Coen Brothers movie.
I want to say you watched one not too incredibly long ago.
It might have been, I went on a picnic and I got drunk and I watched Man Who Wasn't There. That was...
Oh, that one.
That was in 2018.
Oh, really? Yeah, that one's a good one. That's the Billy Bob Thornton one, right?
Yeah, I watched Raising Arizona in 2018. We watched Big Lebowski for the podcast in 2019.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I don't...
Oh, man.
I think it's been 4 years since I watched...
Well, there's still... I mean, not everything they make is extremely, like, a 10 out of 10, but, like, they make some strong movies. Yeah, I mean... They've got an incredibly good body of work.
Yeah, Inside Llewyn Davis is one of my favorites. I love
I still need to watch that one.
I really do want to watch Macbeth.
Oh, yeah, I forgot they did Macbeth.
I think it was just Joel Coen. I think that's when they, like, split.
Yeah. Macbeth's the one with...
Denzel.
Yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about now. I was getting it mixed up with that George Clooney one that flopped that had, like, Jonah Hill in it. And it wasn't Macbeth. I think it was a different Shakespeare. I think it was, like... It's not like an adaptation of the play. It's, like... they're doing, like, a Shakespeare in it. Might be, like, Julius Caesar or something like that. But I don't remember what the movie was. It came out, like...
Oh, are you talking about Hail Caesar?
Yeah. So, like, not recently anymore, but it feels like recently to me.
It was 7 years ago? It was 2016. I remember not being a huge fan of that one.
I remember hearing a lot of people saying that, so...
Like, I thought it was fine.
I never saw that one, so... But yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty much my week, aside from the Gundam and the Invincible.
Gundam! Let's see if we have any questions from Pierre. Nope. Been very busy at the work, so I get it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's okay. More time to talk about Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt. Starting with December Sky. I'm just going to say it now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the quality difference of these two is so vast.
What?
I think this first one is fucking awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's good. I think the conclusion I was kind of coming to when I was, like, thinking about it, I think the first one is, like, really excellent in its simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the second one tries to, like, really add a lot of plot in there, and it bogs it down.
Really
so
boring plot.
Yeah, and it's like you get to see more of the one guy than the other, but it's
the less interesting one.
Yes.
But yeah, so this first one, it's mostly about this rivalry. It's towards the end of the 1 year war.
Apparently, this is an alternate universe too, which. At least that's what I was reading on the Gundam Wiki page, because I had always just assumed it was in mainline UC.
Well, yeah, it says UC, at least during it.
It's like an alternate UC timeline.
Oh, okay.
So, because the manga is, like, really long.
Yeah, it's still going. It's 21 volumes in right now.
Yes.
I wonder if, like, the manga itself is alternate, but they're just like, just make it UC for the anime.
Yeah,
I don't see anything that, like, counteracts anything else.
Yeah, nothing that would be major at the very least.
I guess maybe the weird cult thing in the second one, but that's like, I'd never heard of it, so it doesn't really counteract anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so there's this guy named Eel Fleming, and he loves jazz. And he'll go out, he plays some jazz, and he gets in his Gundam, and then he goes and murders people.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you got some tissues? And then every single time.
Got any tissues, brother?
And then, goes out and does a really efficient job out on the space battlefield.
Yeah.
But, oh no, he's come across another musician-loving opponent.
Yeah.
Who's a sniper.
Yeah, Johnny Young Bosch plays Daryl Lawrence.
I think so. Yeah.
And he is part of a unit called the Living Dead Corps, who are soldiers that had, like, arms and limbs blown off during the war, and they've been suited with prosthetics, and they're being trained to, be snipers or do things they can do.
Work.
Yeah. And he's really good at sniping, and he listens to, like, pop music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he lost both of his legs.
He lost both of his legs, yeah. So he's just like, I'm just going to sit here and shoot everybody from over here. Mm-hmm. And, man, they really try to... You can see E.O. Fleming, like, survive right at the beginning, but for a moment, I'm like, did they just kill that guy? Because I'm like, man... Because, like, we had only seen him for, like, 5 minutes. Like, whoa!
Yeah.
Because they're all, like, getting ready, and we're like, this is going to be a good day! And they fly out, we're like, we're going to go get him! And then they just keep getting destroyed.
Yeah.
But then E.O. Fleming finds him and kills one of his friends or something.
Yeah, just walks straight into his fucking, unit and just shoots him in the head and throws him out, and then gets on the intercom with all the boys and is like, hey!
I see your map, I see your blind spots, see you guys later!
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah.
But yeah, this starts an epic rivalry between them two. Mm-hmm. And they just keep going back and forth. And all this time, there are these doctors that are working for the Zeon, that are trying to build like a Psycho Gundam. But they need the nerves to go like straight into people. Mm-hmm. So they're like, eventually in a fight between EO and Daryl, Daryl's arm gets destroyed. And they're like, what if we just cut off the other arm?
Yeah.
And the doctor lady, Carla, I think, she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm not doing that. I've done enough. But her dad is like being held prisoner by Zeon, right?
Yeah.
So they're basically using that as a leverage point against her. So she ultimately ends up begrudgingly cutting his arm off, and he wakes up, and he's kind of, he tells everyone, he's like,
it's just orders.
Yeah, he's like, if this is what it takes, I'm honored to be the one who gets to protect my comrades. Like, and it's like, oh, man. But I mean, obviously through context clues, that's not how he really feels. Because each of the two rivals has sort of like this moment in their past that they'll like, either, it seems like, what's the name of the Zeon one?
Daryl?
Daryl, yeah. So Daryl will kind of cling to his for like hope, almost like memories of him running on the beach and seeing his family. Whereas Fleming tries to like basically like block out any memory of his father, who was basically like a wartime general or captain or something.
Yeah, and he like found him with his having blown his face off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, so I thought that was like a really kind of interesting dynamic that they had with that. But they basically just, I don't know, fight each other. They go back and forth, and he comes back and he's got his limbs in the fucking Psycho Gundam that they're using. Or it's not a Psycho Gundam, but it's like something.
Well, they say Psycho. I think it's like the kind of the beta test of the Psycho Gundam kind of thing.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like one. So it's like, But yeah, he goes in and they fight, and they're
like, why is he so good? And he's like doing backflips
and yeah, it's just a really climactic fight. It seems like he had him there for a minute, and then like right as he's trying to go in for the final blow against Daryl like just gives one perfect shot and takes out his Gundam as well. So they're both kind of like, but.
They're both kind of floating in space, and then they get out.
Yeah.
And they're like, E.O. Fleming's kind of a dickhead the whole time, especially about, like, this guy who's, like, a quadruple amputee. Mm-hmm. And he keeps going, like, this guy beat me.
Yeah.
But then Zeon, like, wins this encounter.
Mm-hmm. And they end up taking them all as prisoners, but the end of the film reveals that, like,
he gets out. It's mostly just like, well, here's the next minute of the first movie or the next movie.
Yeah, and I wish that wasn't there. I wish it had ended on the more solid, just him like kind of floating out.
Yeah, it's
resolution.
Which I think that is just the ending of that movie, and the rest is just like, here's a preview. So I don't really consider that the ending. I'm just like, this is fine. Because I think that ending is awesome.
Yes.
And I think what's nice about this is even though I don't really enjoy the next one, Bandit Flower. I think this one on its own just works really well. Like, it's a nice self-contained story. And it looks awesome. Especially, like, the fights, they look great. Yeah. There's that one shot where he's sniping and he thinks he's about to get E.O. Fleming. And then the lightning bolt stops it because they're in this Thunderbolt sector. So there's just, like, space lightning all the time. I forgot about that. That looks so sick.
And he's so taken aback. He's like, really? That had to happen right then? I was about to do it. But yeah.
I was wondering, like, it seems like it really was like a coincidence, but when it happened, I'm like, are they trying to like imply that this is some sort of like, you know,
they do reference
godly
space
innovations? Yeah.
That was in this one, right? Not the next one?
I think it was this one.
Yeah.
It was one of the two.
There's a random line where basically some technicians are outside and they're like, you don't think... Because he asks Daryl, he's like... Because apparently Daryl's like a new type, so he's like, you don't think that, like, there are ghosts out here? Like, you're sensitive to that kind of stuff. Do you see any? He's like, I don't see any. So it's like, oh, okay, cool.
It would be funny to jump to his point of view and you see him and there's just thousands of ghosts out there.
I was hoping that, like, that was going to be the... Not, like, literally that.
He's like, no, there aren't any out there.
Yeah, but maybe something kind of signifying, like, be kind of reminiscent of that one scene from Igloo 2. Mm-hmm. That I liked, where he's like, the angel is behind him. He's like, do you see it? And he's like, no.
No, don't worry about it. But yeah, Thunderbolt has a lot of cool. The December Sky in general, it's an hour and 10 minutes. It's really short, but it has so much in it, and it feels really tightly paced. And I really like the character exploration. I do think, like, in general, Daryl Lawrence is probably more of a compelling character than the guy who's just like, I like jazz.
I agree. Yeah.
But like, I think both. I think they're a fun rivalry, definitely.
And they definitely did give a little bit of characterization to the other guy.
Yeah, I think there's enough. I just think, like, in general, like, this sacrificial burden that is, like, I'm sacrificing my literal limbs in support of a military that it doesn't even really seem like he cares that much about it, but it's like, they give me these limbs, so I'm like, might as well. There's a lot to that.
A little, like, 3-prong, like...
Yeah, I like the look of those. They look kind of cute.
Right? It's like...
They remind me of something from, like, Oddworld, like Abe's Odyssey or Munch's Odyssey. Yeah, they're video games.
Video games?
Video games.
Like Mario?
Mario? Speaking of Mario, did you know that Seth Rogen stars in the new...
What?
But... Yeah, and I like the music choices. One thing that's interesting is in the dub for the first and the second, they change the pop music because it's just English music in this one, and then it's still Japanese tracks in the second one in Bandit Flower.
I have Blu-rays and
is it just Japanese tracks or is it just English tracks? It might just be two different dubs that I watched.
It sounded like J-pop, but it did have English lyrics. So I'm not entirely...
But in Bandit Flower, there wasn't any English lyrics. At least in the dub I watched.
Not that I recall.
Also, one thing that I really liked is how prevalent the jazz is as a character motivation in this, that I think is lost in the second one, because it's just kind of played at random times. While, like, this one is like, no... Jazz is actually the threat here. Like, if you hear this, he's being serious. You will die, kind of thing. That is a fun concept that I don't think...
There's only really one good jazz scene in the second one, and that's...
when they're playing the jazz. Yes.
And that's like, well, that's not on the battlefield.
Yeah. But, I mean, you could argue that everywhere's a battlefield.
That is true.
It's a battlefield of love. But yeah, I like Carla's character quite a bit in this. I can't remember her name, but the captain on Ito's side, I think, was relatively interesting. I think that one is probably the least developed idea here, but I still liked her stuff for, like, kind of drug addiction because she cannot handle this. Yeah. She's like, she was put into a place of power because she comes from power, and then she's like, she's really trying her best, but she keeps losing people, so she turns to drug addiction. And it's not something that I've seen in a Gundam series yet, so I'm like, this is cool. I like this. This isn't cool, but this is an interesting on concept. Yeah. I like the part where where they're invading the base, and it's the, what's his name? The guy who always lends EO his napkins.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Carlisle. That doesn't sound right.
The guy who looks like the guy from Bleach, whose name I also can't remember. Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna figure this out. Gundam Thunderbolt, December Sky.
Whoa.
Nope. I'm not going to figure out. But anyway, that guy, he's like, don't do this anymore. And meanwhile, there's people that are like setting up cameras. Like, that was awesome. They set up cameras. And she's like, what are you guys doing? She runs away. And then right after that, the people she was just with just get incinerated because a suit just puts its sword against the like hull. There's a lot of like mega wipeouts in this one. Also, this one has like, they're like, we're sending you new recruits, and they just send them actually children, like not even like young adults. They're like 12, 11, and they all just die. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's pretty brutal, because the one guy is like, oh, dude, this is easy pickings. Because I don't even think he realized what was happening. Although you think he would have probably, I guess not all people are like thinkers like that.
Yeah.
You would think he'd be like, wow, this is too good to be true.
Yeah. And it's just like, there is some interesting stuff where E.O. Fleming's like, well, I'm in charge of these guys. I need to keep them alive. And then he's immediately just like, you're probably not going to live.
Yeah. And it's like, that's such a shame because it could have been like an interesting character point for him if he had like,
well, and I think there's, as this stands as a whole, I like his character. I don't think there's anything needed. But the thing that's, I think, is missing from that second one is lasting consequences from the stuff that happens in this one. I don't think anything in this one needs to happen. But if you're gonna continue the story, maybe expand upon these concepts. They really don't do anything with anyone. They just introduce new characters.
No, it's definitely like meant as a segue movie. But the thing is that these came out years ago, and there has been no later installment.
So we'll talk about that in a second. But, I really, really liked this one, though. I was like, this one's so awesome! And then I started the second one the next day. And I was like, yes, yes, yes! And then like 10 minutes in, I'm like, this is not going to be good.
Yeah. I was going into it kind of gritting my teeth because I know people say it's not as good. So, but I was hoping. I was like, maybe it'll be fine.
Yeah, I was hoping to just like enjoy it. Honestly, let's finish talking about this one. Yeah. I think character decisions are great. Really fun to look at. Yeah, I like the like character models as well. They're kind of weird looking, but Gundam models in general.
It's like a blend between like the best I can describe it is it's like a blend between the old Gundam style, like that 60s kind of character design, with that kind of like modern roughness that you'll see in a lot of stuff. Like it reminds me a lot of like the animation from like something like Devilman Crybaby, for instance.
Kind of I haven't seen it, but one of the newer JoJo series, it kind of reminded me of some of the animation from that.
Yeah, JoJo's Part 5 has some of that kind of like... The best way I can describe it is like whatever digital pen they use, it's almost got like kind of like a ribbony effect where it's like kind of like torn on one side.
Which I like. I think it's an interesting aesthetic. So.
Yeah, no.
And I like when Gundam series like look different and have their own identity.
Oh, absolutely. But December Sky. Good stuff.
Pretty cool. So I'd probably give this one like a 9. I really liked this one.
Yeah, no, it's really solid and really short.
Yeah, like not as short and not as good, and also bad. Let's talk about Bandit Flower.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happens to this, and none of it's interesting.
No, I kind of felt bad because I was like, do I need to rewatch
that?
I felt like I didn't retain a whole lot outside of like the character.
A lot of it's just like kind of nonsense. It's just kind of, let's throw a cult in. It's like not interesting. Like
it felt like I was watching it the whole time and I was like, this feels like a really bad, like one of the bad Lupin plots. Not to say that any Lupin plot involving a cult is bad, but you catch the drift.
No, I get it. So this one, it has so at first I'm like, okay, maybe they're just going to have different characters. And I'm like, that'd be interesting, I guess. Like, just another, like, side story, another hour and a half. But I'm like, no, it's still E.O. Fleming, and it's still Daryl, but they barely interact. And we barely get any Daryl stuff. Yeah, it's mostly an E.O. Fleming movie, and it's not even... The movie gets interesting 10 minutes before the end, and then it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And I was reading about this, and so when this was being adapted, there were only like 8 volumes out. And since then, there's been like 13 more volumes. And I read that they are interested in doing more. So we might get more.
They should, at the very least.
Maybe finish this arc.
Yeah.
Kind of just a really... Like, how do you make it the first part so good and so well, like, self-contained, and then this one is just hinges so heavily on, like, a next entry that might never be animated.
Yeah. It's just like...
And also, it's not... The first chunk just isn't very interesting. The Bianca, I think her name is, the, like, friend... character to E.O. Fleming. I'm like, why is she here? You already had a side character.
I think she's meant to be romantically interested,
but it's not.
Some of the comments she makes.
Just make the guy. Make the guy friend.
Yeah, that's
make them kiss.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? But yeah, she shows up and she also likes jazz music.
And they play jazz together, which is the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, there's like a scene where they play like a really intense jazz song and it like splices just with like battle footage from, I think, the first movie. Yeah. So it's like...
And I'm like, is this like... I thought when I saw that, I'm like, this is interesting. What they're going to do is they're going to imply that E.O. Fleming is so involved with his battles and like with this jazz that now he just associates, even when he listens to jazz at other times, he constantly gets these feelings of like being in war and he's like a forever changed man. But they don't do any of that. They're just like, look at a cool scene. And I'm like, yeah, it looks good. I wish I was watching the first one again.
Yeah, I felt like it was a really good extension of... In the first movie, they have like a line where his one friend comments on how he feels sorry for Leo, because he's basically like... He's the kind of guy who is like... kind of serves best in war, but is also like disserved by war because, you know, he's the guy who only feels alive when he's like living on the absolute edge.
Yeah. And they're like, he doesn't like war, just same as you, but it's like the only time he feels alive. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's good. But I really feel like they do a disservice to like most of the characters in this one.
Yeah, and it's just like, because I didn't like jumping over to Daryl. Yeah, I almost called him Elliot. I'm like, no, that's not right. To Daryl, freaking, what's it called? Because like, I guess we can just kind of sum up his plotline real quick because it's very short and sweet.
Yeah, Carla goes insane.
Yeah, she basically regresses. It's very much like Berserk and what happens in that series. Oh, I guess spoilers for that. I guess I shouldn't have just...
It's more like, because you've been watching Gundam with us, Rosami in Zeta Gundam, except not as interesting. Like, I actually don't mind the idea, but it's like we get a 5-minute scene, and that's pretty much the only, like, big scene for him in the movie, really.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, that is interesting in concept.
Wow, I can't wait to see, hopefully, that pay off in the next movie. But, yes.
You have frozen.
No!
I have no idea when you froze either. Maybe you've been frozen for 1,000,000 years.
Maybe. Well, I mean... Do we really have that much more to say on this one?
No, we can keep going.
Okay.
Thomas is just going to be frozen. I'm going to put up like a GIF of Freddie Mercury.
You can put up one of the classic GIFs of me in the movie theater seat.
Yeah.
Just like, but, freaking, what's it called? Yeah. I don't know.
It's like, I probably have like 5 more minutes to talk about this movie, but it's fine.
You're all good.
Yeah, it's like, I think there are some concepts that are cool. I like some of the action in it, but at the end of the day, as much as I love Gundam action, I don't come to Gundam for the action.
No.
I like the character work. I like the world building. And I think it really fails to ignite a spark of what's interesting in Gundam. And I'm like, this like religious zealot cult, I think is interesting in concept, especially that comes from like Remnants of War. Like that makes sense. But it's just like, they don't do a good job of making anything compelling. Which is really, like, how do you make a weird zealot cult uninteresting? Like, how, a lot of the ideas in this, I'm like, how did you mess up so badly? Especially because it seems like the same director did both of these movies. I'm like,
yeah.
The hell?
Man, I wonder if it was a situation where he was just like, I really want to make this Thunderbolt movie. And then he made the first one, but you have to, like, adapt the rest of it. He's like, reads the manga and goes,
Also, it's just like, there's, this is 20 minutes longer, but it feels like an hour longer.
Yeah, it definitely.
Like, I feel like there's no dragging in the first one, and this one is like all like dragging.
Very snappy, and this one is just dragging ass the whole fucking time.
Yep.
It's just like, what? Don't you want to see like this blossoming relationship between these two characters here? And it's like, no, not really. Not unless you're going to do something interesting with it, which they don't. So it's like, I mean, maybe they do it later on in the manga. I don't know. I can't fucking read it over here.
Oh, I think the manga is... I was looking on Amazon. It seems like I can buy up to
okay. That must be one of, like, the two series.
Volume 20. Yeah, I was actually surprised.
I guess that doesn't surprise me.
I honestly might... At the very least, I might start trying to carry the first, like, 5 volumes at the shop. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, I watched the anime. Yeah. Because I think it's, like, pretty good. I think... Maybe I would like some of this stuff that's in concept in the second movie if I was reading it. It really just feels like it's over bloated, and I don't like some of these character introductions, and they like the pacing's all wrong. But maybe in the manga I'd like it more. Like there's a lot of things in anime I like more in manga, and vice versa. Like it just depends on the medium. And it seems like some of these Thunderbolt concepts would work better. At least, like, in this second one, if it was manga.
Yeah, because it's like, I find it very hard to believe that I would like the material from the first movie more in the manga, just simply because, like, it seems like the medium of music is such a big thing in it.
But they kind of just drop that in this one.
Yeah, and it's like, well...
And that was my favorite part of the first one.
Yeah, no, it made it unique and kind of interesting, but, you know... I guess they can't all be filled with great jazz soundtracks.
Yeah.
No, I guess the second one did still have a pretty jazzy soundtrack here and there. But
and I love jazz, so...
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't think I've ever heard a jazz song and been like, no?
It's funny because I don't think Pierre's particularly fond of jazz, and I don't think Hinata is. So she's like, what the fuck are you watching? Like, it's jazz! Yeah! It gets me going! You know, I'd probably be like Eo Fleming and be like, oh, I'm gonna kill everyone! I'm listening to jazz!
Yeah, I know well, it's not jazz, but I listen to Mr. Blue Sky and I kick ass in Rocket League, so that's gotta count for something. But yeah, this one just wasn't as strong. It, like I said earlier, it just felt like it was too convoluted with like a plot that it's like, all right, if you want this to be part of your main story, like maybe you would have incorporated some of these details in the first one, even if it was like just planting the seeds. But yeah, I don't know, because it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it seems weird. I don't know what the relationship between like the manga and the anime is for like how accurate of an adaptation it is and what was out at the time and what they would have like foreseen coming. But yeah, it's just weird. This adaptation didn't quite land. Hopefully in the future we can get a third installment that can hopefully make this second one worth existing. But until that day comes.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd probably give this one like a 4. I think this is the first Gundam thing I've actively not liked.
Yeah,
And the thing is, presentation-wise, it still looks awesome.
Yeah, and then it's just
like...
And there's still moments throughout, like, I was pretty engaged in the like final battle between like Fleming and Bianca. When she like shot off her leg and stuff, and I thought that, or I guess that wasn't the final battle, but
yeah, there are parts, but then in between it's just like,
yeah, no, exactly.
Where am I?
It's just like, oh man, I feel like I've slept through this anime 20 times already. But yeah, it was okay. Probably my second least favorite thing from Gundam that I've seen so far. I would probably put Igloo 2 above this one, and then I don't know, I might put the second season of Igloo above this one as well. I don't think I'd put that first season of Igloo above it though, just because.
That's fair.
I just remember not vibing with it.
Oh, that's fair.
But yeah.
I didn't particularly like either of the first or the third, or I guess first and then MS Igloo 2, but I liked them more than this.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Oh, well. Thomas, are you ready?
Lay it on me.
I think we should watch more Gundam.
What? What are we watching?
We're going to watch a 13-episode series.
Okay.
We're going to watch Gundam 83 Stardust Memory.
Nice.
Which is about Ko Rocky.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to watching this one for a while. I've got the Blu-rays for most of the stuff that takes place in between Zeta and 79, so I also have that Blu-ray copy of the 8th MS team that I need to
I almost picked that.
Yeah, we'll get to it eventually. But yes.
Because I think this one is like, I think 8th MS team is like 10 episodes and this was like 13 or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm interested. Could not English there for a moment. I'm interested to see what Stardust Memories is and if it's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be.
By the way, this happened like 3 episodes ago, but we have officially watched more than 500 things for the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that include like individual episodes of shows, or does that like include just series? One
series, I think. Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. Is there anything on here that? Because this is the letterbox list, so.
Oh yeah, so that doesn't even include like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been a couple things that have been removed, or like Spider-Man Unlimited. I don't think. Actually, I think I have. The Jack Black Spider-Man sketch in as a placeholder for Spider-Man Unlimited.
Oh, the MTV Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, those are pretty funny.
Yeah, and there's a couple short films here and there, but in general, we've watched a lot of stuff for the podcast.
Yeah. Damn. Almost getting close to that big 200, cross the 500 items threshold.
I guess the only like episode, like we have the Small Axe entries, but I think all of those are movies. They're all like an hour.
Yeah, no, those are definitely movies.
It's the same way I consider like most Black Mirror episodes. I'm like, they're just like, it's an anthology movie series.
Yeah, no,
they're all like 40 minutes each.
For sure.
Anywhere from 40 to like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man, Scooby-Doo Curse of the 13th Ghost! Woo!
Whoa!
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Next week, more Gundam.
Yes.
Let's go!
Woo!